Once again, that's *1 to ask a question. And we'll go first to AJ Perez with FoxSports.com.
Hey, this is for Chael. Dana White told us a few days ago that you kind of had a run-in with a fan at the Tough finale. Could you talk a little bit about that and what transpired and kind of how that went down?
You know, I really can't. I don't know a ton about it. There was a lot of people around, and my focus was just in 5 different directions, including on him. Ultimately, he got upset and he went to take a punch and security grabbed him and they took him out. I didn't miss a beat. I mean, I was doing a few other things. I didn't like seeing him have to leave. He had very expensive and good seats, and I wish he would have seen the show. But at the same time, he can't do that behavior.
Exactly. Do you see yourself? I know you don't want to become a target, but obviously you're very well spoken and you can promote. And sometimes, I guess, maybe in this case, it rubs someone the wrong way. Do you ever think about that perception that maybe some people have of you?
Well, I don't promote fights, but I do pick fights, and yes, I do. I am well aware of that perception, and I enjoy it.
And we'll take our next question from Michael Cohen with the Syracuse Post-Standard.
Hey, this question is for Jon. Jon, this is about as close as you can get to fighting in your home state. What would it mean if you could ever eventually fight in New York and have your home fans see you up close?
Oh man, Madison Square Garden is it's like the mecca place for fighting, I believe. Like Muhammad Ali got to fight there. Mike Tyson got to fight there. And I think it's like I just think it's like a surreal place to be. I'm actually honored that I get to do the open workouts at the Garden because it's just a dream of mine. So to fight there, it would mean a lot to me, and can't wait for the possibility.
With the success that you and your brothers have had, what's the support been like in the central New York area with all the ties to Syracuse and Binghamton and Rochester?
Man, it's phenomenal, man. It's surreal. Sometimes I don't think I realize how much support we have. I don't really, it's huge. It's bigger than I'm able to like stop and realize. And it's a great thing. I think when I retire from fighting, I'll open a gym probably in the Rochester area because it is where I was born, and I think I have a pretty successful program. So yeah, it's overwhelming. Syracuse working heavily, so I get the football fans supporting me, and they get MMA fans. It's a lot of cross marketing going on between me and my brothers.
And last one, real quick, Jon. This is the time of year again where the state assembly has that chance to pass the vote. And there's been talk of that Madison Square Garden fight in November. What's your thought process this time around? You're really hoping this is it?
Yeah, man, it will be awesome if they go through with it. And if I come out of this fight unscathed, I would love and get right back to camp and be active.
Thanks, Jon.
For the November card. Yeah, thank you.
As a reminder to our phone audience, that is *1 at this time if you have any questions. And we'll go next to Damon Martin with BleacherReport.com.
First question is for Jon. Jon, throughout your career, you've really avoided getting into emotional battles with your opponents, no matter how much they tried to goad you in, outside of maybe Rashad Evans, and we kind of know why that happened. Has this fight with Chael ever become personal? I know Dana made that comment, I think it was last week, where he said you told him you really wanted to hurt Chael and things like that. Can you kind of expand and talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the comment. It's something that I said, but my emotions aren't like overly involved. Well, actually, no, they're really not. I've studied Chael a lot. I study his interviews. I study his personality and everything. And he's being himself. I'm comfortable with him. I've familiarized myself with who he is and what he needs to do and what he tries to be. And it is just another situation. When I get in the fight, I never fight over aggressively. I always stay calm and relaxed and composed. And and that's what it'll be. No matter what I say before a fight, what my opponent says, no matter if I appear to let someone in my head, which I enjoy doing, because that's what the project is. It's a huge homework assignment that I have, so he should be in my head. But when it comes to fight night, it's relaxation, it's beauty, it's peace, it's martial arts. It's what God put me on this planet to do.
And you've said obviously in the past that you have long-term goals of becoming one of the greatest champions, if not the greatest champion in the past or in the future. Excuse me. What do you feel like the fight with Chael does for your legacy?
This fight with Chael, it ties me with Tito Ortiz.
As far as the career, the greatest light heavyweight champion as far as career defenses?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
As a reminder, that is star one if you would like to ask a question, and we'll go next to Dale D'Souza with the MMA Corner.
Hi. First question for John. John, we've seen a lot in the past, as far as Chael's fights, he loves to use his wrestling, and if he sees an opening for a submission, he'll obviously take it. Has his wrestling been a concern for you at all this entire camp?
No, I wouldn't say I'm concerned with his wrestling. I think I've worked on my bottom game a lot more than I have in any other camp because where I've fought lots of wrestlers in the past, I think I have been able to mesmerize them and make them not use their wrestling, where Chael is a guy who shoots without really putting much thought into it. He almost does it automatically. He has great timing. So I have become comfortable with the idea of fighting off my back, and I'm prepared to do so. But, the storyline is always his wrestling, his wrestling, his wrestling. It was that way with Matyushenko, Ryan Bader, Rashad Evans, and I don't think no one respects the wrestling at all. No one respects it at all. I have a lot of pride going into this fight, and maybe I'll take him down more than he'll take me down. You never know, So I'm excited to go out there and prove my critics wrong again about me being this inferior wrestler. I don't think people give my junior college accolade respect, and I'm going to earn respect in this fight. I have great takedowns, and I'm excited to see what Chael has learned off of his back. Even the ground and pound. Chael doesn't really damage anyone with his ground and pound. Anderson's face was fine. All of his opponents' face was fine. I think Brian Baker was the only guy who made bleed with his ground and pound. Everyone that I take down, I cut them open right away. So I don't think anyone respects my grappling, my ground and pound, or my wrestling. I'm excited to go out there and show people I do.
Excellent, John. And question for Chael. Chael, obviously there's been a lot of talk about this fight, both good and bad, as it relates to, you're challenging John. Do you feel any pressure at all to really silence the critics that say that you really don't deserve to be in there with John?
Yeah. There's always pressure. That pressure is earned. If you've never done anything in this sport, you're not going to have any pressure. If you've won a whole bunch of fights and been a marquee fighter, you're going to move to the top. I want to talk about something John said earlier, though. I always find it, as great as John is, I don't think he understands how good he is. For him to pay tribute to Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali earlier was a very nice thing for him to do. The reality is Jon Jones could beat up Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali in the same day. And when he says he wants to be the best ever, John, newsflash, buddy, you are the best. And as far as tying Tito Ortiz, yeah, maybe he had a couple of more wins, but he hasn't had the competition that you faced. And, that's not a secret. I'm not going to degrade John or what he's done. He's the world champion. He's the best in the weight class, and he's the best the weight class has ever seen. So if you're asking me if I feel pressure, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. This is a tough guy in a tough environment, but, that's the sport. That's what it is. And you're saying I don't deserve the shot or however. Look, I don't earn title shots. Title shots earn me. I don't go after main events. Main events come after me. And that's it. And whether I earned it or not, or deserve it, I'm a Republican. I don't talk in those terms. I take what I want, and that's it.
All right, excellent, Chael. Thanks, guys.
As a reminder to our phone audience, that is *1 at this time if you have any questions. And we'll go next to Steven Morocco with MMAJunkie.com.
Hey, John. Pretty nice things Chael just had to say about you. What do you make of those? You think think they're genuine, or you think he's trying to sort of play games?
I can't afford to worry or feel any type of feelings of him being kind or anything. You know, the thought of someone taking my nickname away from me, and that nickname is Champs, I take that very personal. I take that with a grain of salt. And that's the way I need to keep my attitude. I need to keep my focus. Someone's trying to take away my dream. You know, the thought of going home without my belt, it keeps me angry. So I care if someone says something nice about me.
And a quick follow-up, do you have any number in mind when you think of the number of title defenses you'd like to have as champion before you maybe start to think about other things? For instance, maybe a move up to the heavyweight division?
Well, one thing I've been contemplating is first tying Tito Ortiz, and then establishing that record of the most wins in my next fight, maybe in November, and after that fight in November, entertaining super fights and heavyweight fights.
Would the Anderson Silva fight be the first super fight you'd target?
I said what I said.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
As a reminder, if you have a question, please press *1. We'll go next to Jordan Curran with MMA Plus.
Hi, this is MMA Plus. I've just got a quick question for Chael. Chael, I understand you've been doing a lot of training with Luke Barnett recently. He's a big name over here in UK MMA. Just wondering if you could talk about the work you've been doing with him.
Yeah, I've worked out with him every day. I think I'm hearing an English accent there. We also got John McGuire out here in Oregon. And, yeah, we're working hard. You know, I never thought that a reach mattered, but it's a problem. You know, I felt it going with Luke, and there is something there, and I'm glad I got the work in. But, yeah, he's great. He works hard. He goes twice a day, every day. There's really nothing more you can ask for a workout partner.
Well, thanks a lot. That's great.
And we'll take our next question from Dave Diebert with Post Media News.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for the call. First one from Michael. You talked recently about some nerve issues in your neck, in your arm, and I'm wondering how you're doing health-wise at this point, going into the fight.
Health-wise, going into this fight, I'm fantastic. You know, fighters train hard, you know, and we accumulate injuries over the years, but nothing that is going to stop me from destroying Alan Belcher come next Saturday night. I've had a great camp, feel fantastic. Yes, you know, as I said, all fighters kind of carry a couple of injuries here and there, but there's nothing that's going to hinder my performance and nothing on this planet that is going to help Alan Belcher.
What do you see a win if it were to come on Saturday? What does that do for you in the division?
Well, obviously it puts me back in the win column. It eradicates my last loss. You know, you're only as good as your last fight, and my last fight was a loss, and I don't take that too well. You know, I want to win fights. I'm a natural competitor, and a win over Alan Belcher puts me back in the win column. As I say, I get redemption from my last fight. It's a win over a top 10 opponent, and it gets me back in the mix for the title shot. You know, that's what I want, and then as long as there's life in my body, I will continue to try and get that title shot. You know, I'm a fighter. I want to be the world champion, and I ain't stopping as long as my body can do it. I'm going to keep trying.
All right, thank you, Michael. Alan, what I guess along those same thought process, what does a win over Michael do for you?
It puts me in the back in the top of the division, and yeah, we're both coming off losses. We both have losses in our career, wins in our career, and now we're going to see who the best is out of us too. I don't care. I'm not really thinking about the ranks. I'm not thinking about what the fans think or about how confident Michael is. I'm just thinking about beating him Saturday night.
Let me just add to that. A win over me for Alan Belcher will be by far the biggest win of his pathetic career.
Okay.
There you go. No one gives a fuck about Alan Belcher.
Yeah, that's right. So you better not lose to me, otherwise.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lose to you, mate. It's in the bag. All I've got to do is it's a formality. I just got to show up, slap your little face, take my check, and go home.
Yeah, we'll see Saturday night.
Yeah, we bloody will, mate, because you know it's coming, big man.
Yep, I know exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
Alan, I guess, Michael, he always, very, very colorful, always is going into his fights. Is it going to be difficult, separating, any emotions, and staying calm in the cage and not letting, any lingering emotions affect you?
Is the question for me?
Yeah.
You're using too many big words there. You got to simplify it for Alan.
Yeah, no, it is emotional for me, and that's whenever I perform at my highest. I have the most pressure on me. I'm the most nervous for this fight ever. The only fights that I've ever lost are the fights that I wasn't very excited for. So this one, I want it worse than any fight in my whole career, and I'm focused on it, and I'll perform at my highest.
Okay, thanks. And if I could, just one quick one for Chael. You mentioned earlier how you think Jon. I don't know if you were talking just the light heavyweight division or overall when you said best ever. But you've looked at him a lot leading up to this. You've been in the cage twice with Anderson. Who's the better of the two?
It's a tough sell, man. Look, here's the reality with Anderson. I stomped that guy. And you can pick up his little arm as many times as you want and call him the winner, but the fact is I whipped his ass for 30 minutes. He got the jump on me for less than 30 seconds. He never knocked me down. I fell down. They say Anderson's the best pound for pound. He's not the best round for round. I have 3 10-8 rounds in my entire career. I fought 49 men. 3 rounds of my whole life are 10-8. That's gymnastics equivalent to a perfect 10. It doesn't happen in this sport. I doubt anyone on this call even has a 10-8 round. I got 3 of them. They're all against Anderson Silva. So if you think Jon and Anderson are even close, I will run through Jon because I ran through Anderson. Now, I don't think they're close. I think Jon is considerably better than Anderson. But sometimes I hear that I don't deserve this fight or I'm not the right guy, but then I hear that Anderson could beat him. Well, you got to be kidding me. I stomped Anderson Silva twice.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, you guys.
We'll go next to Zeus King with MMAopinion.co.uk.
My first question is for Chael. Your catchphrase, "Beat me if you can." Do you like that more to the Portland's grappler or to Taz from ECW?
Let me start with giving you a little business advice. Do not have a website called blah.com./UK. You need to simplify things. And secondly, I'm going to give that to the grappler. His name is Len Denton, and good for you for recognizing it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate the business advice.
You're very welcome.
The next one for Alan Belcher. A lot of smack talk here from Michael. On one video interview, he's saying that he would love nothing better than to get a hold of you in his Muay Thai versus yours. What do you say to that?
I welcome it. I mean, what am I supposed to say to it? I mean, my Muay Thai versus Michael Bisping. I'm going to sit here and say that I'm better than he is, but no one's going to know until Saturday night.
Excellent. And then finally, for Jon Jones, do you ever look at the world around you and see all the haters and just dismiss it all? Because I mean, there's a lot of people who just focus on all your negatives and not your positives. Do you just get through every day just not worrying about what they think?
Yeah, I can't afford to worry about what people think. I'm doing something that's pretty. I think it's pretty extraordinary what I've done, and a lot of people aren't going to be happy for you. My dad taught me that at a young age. He always said, people aren't going to be happy for you guys' success. And that's how it works. I'm comfortable with it. Another thing is, I've beaten a lot of people's favorite fighter. Every training camp I have, I love my Twitter. And Rampage has way more fans than I do. Vitor Belfort has way more fans than I do. Shogun Rua has way more fans. Lyoto, I think we're about neck and neck. But anyways, I'm the new guy, So, of course, people want to see the new guy lose to the guy they've been loving for years. And when I beat, people's heroes back to back to back, it's very well. People, and then, the fast climb, people love to see a guy get built up to be broken down. I think that's why a lot of people enjoy my DWI so much. So, it happens. I'm comfortable with it. When I come home to a beautiful house and my family being happy, it makes it all worth it. So, people can hate me as much as they want. My family's happy. I think I have the best job in the world, and they're watching the fight. So it all pays off. And they're like free advertisement. They talk about me all day and claim they hate me, but they can't stop tweeting me or thinking about me. So it's like free advertisement for me, too. So it's pretty cool.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you answering my questions.
We'll go next to Brad Johnson with 1510 Radio.
Hi, yes. This question is for Jon Jones. Since is in Boston, in light of the recent events, I know that your brother Chandler is a part of the New England Patriots. Do you plan to dedicate or participate in any of thoughts during the fight or before the fight for the people of Boston?
No, I wasn't planning on it. This is pretty subject, and I got to be pretty careful on how I word this. But a lot of times, I think terrorists they do things to get, and I really don't, where I feel terrible about the loss of that, people's lives, and I think it was a terrible thing. I try not to talk about the bad things that happens in the world. Because that's what the terrorists want. They want to be on all these news channels. They want to be talked about, and they want to be famous, and they want this glorification for what they did. And I don't think talking about it. I think talking about it is exactly what they want. So the way I deal with it is I pray for the families, and that's it. I pray for the families, and that's about it.
Hey, thank you so much for that. And then, Jon, just a quick follow-up question. Do you train any different for defense titles in your camp, or do you go into it as just another fight?
I go into it as it's just another fight. I feel like I've had the toughest work schedule out of anyone in the UFC in the past several years. If you look at all the guys I fought. Every fight of mine has been the number one contender for 2 years now. So I've learned to get my emotions out of the way and just to train extremely hard and approach it like another fight. Now, when I say it's another fight, obviously there's tactics that are always different. For example, the jiu-jitsu that I've been working on in this camp and fighting another southpaw. I've gotten a lot better against southpaw. Before fight, I had one arm. And this time I have two arms, so I'm excited to see myself perform. As they say, you're only as good as your last fight, and I felt like I was better than that. But anyways, I'm working different tactics, but it's just another fight, another number one contender, another one of the toughest guys in the world. Okay, thank you.
And we'll go next to Franklin McNeil with ESPN.
And my question is for Jon. First of all, how are you, man? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Good, Franklin. Good to hear your voice.
All right, man. Hey, I just want to know where you are mentally at this point in your career, your motivation. You're the champion, and obviously you want to keep that title. I want to know, and you talk a little bit about your future without going into specifics, but is there more that you fight for now than just holding on to the belt? And what does this fight, what motivates you going into this fight?
Yeah, I definitely fight for more than just the belt. I have two brothers that are in the NFL, and I think what drives me is not to be the lesser brother, not to be the brother who didn't quite make it or the one who needs to borrow money 10 years from now. So that really, really drives me to show that a UFC fighter can have the type of success that an NFL player could have, if not more. So that's one thing that drives me. Another thing is my kids. I have lots of kids, so I can't let them down. You know what I mean? And another thing that drives me is knowing that I inspire a lot of people. I get that a lot, and it's something that I have a lot of pride in. That's why I tweet a lot of motivational things and try to be positive, because I caught wind of guys like Tony Robbins and all these different motivational speakers, and they changed my life. They changed my psychology. And if I can quote something or say something that makes someone better, that means a lot to me, to be able to change someone's lives. I feel as if that's what God put me up to do. And I won't be able to do that if I don't have a platform. So being the champion means more than just having the belt. I have lots of purpose outside of myself.
You mentioned earlier about those who root against you for whatever reason. Does that motivate you as well?
Does the haters motivate me?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way they do. I try to focus on the people who love me, but sometimes I find myself scanning through my Twitter just to see, who was hating on me for that day, because it motivates me. It definitely motivates me. It's funny because I get harassed every fight, and then after the fight, all those guys that go away, I don't know where, they eat all their words. So it motivates me to just keep proving people wrong. And, I have this psychology of keeping my nose to the dirt and minding my own business and just outworking people.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Letting success speak for itself.
And we only have time for a few more questions. Please press *1 if you would like to be placed in the queue. And we'll go next to Rich Klein with FightDay.com.
Hey, Chael. Having gone through The Ultimate Fighter now with Jon, I was just wondering, how has your perception changed about Jon himself? And do you regret anything you've said about maybe his arrest or the 151 cancellation?
I don't regret anything ever, but as far as my perception of Jon, it changed in about 30 seconds. But the first 30 seconds I was around him, he's a good guy. He's a very nice guy. I hear people that insult him a lot, and I'm going, well, wait a second. This guy's the world champion. This guy's achieved what everybody else is dreaming of. I think people should copy Jon more than attempt to correct him. He cared a lot about his team. He took coaching very seriously. He was on time every time, and he inspired a bunch of guys that really needed it. He threw it. I cared about every one of those guys. I didn't care if they were on Jon's team or mine, and I got to know them, and they looked up to him, and he was there for them, and I think he should be credited for that. He was a nice person, and there's not a lot else I can say. As far as a competitive standpoint, I think I can beat him. I love watching him. I think he's very good. But I think I can beat him. I would like to say this, since I know the questions are winding down. I'm a big fan. aside from being a fighter, I'm a fan, and it's very hard to focus on Jon because I am dying to see a Bisping and Belcher fight. I want to see the Bisping that beat the hell out of me for 3 rounds take on the Belcher that beat the hell out of Pelharis for 3 rounds. I think Belcher's performance against Pelharis was one of the single best performances of the entire year. And if those 2 guys, the right guys, show up, it's going to be awesome. And somebody asked Bisping about having some injuries earlier. And he quite candidly said, yeah, I got some injuries, but they're not going to stop me. Just to tell you a little about Mike Bisping, I was on the set of UFC Tonight 1 month ago. He shows up with stitches in his head, grabs a pair of scissors out of the drawer, and removes his own stitches before he goes on set because he thought they want to look good. So if you think that Michael Bisping needs to feel good to perform, you're wrong.
Muchas gracias.
And we'll go next to Michael Cohen with the Syracuse Post-Standard.
Hey, Jon, I'm curious, is there a different kind of buzz around this fight at all, given that it's a little bit closer to home? Have you noticed more of your buddies from the upstate area are into it? It's on the East Coast and as close to home as you can get right now?
Could you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm just wondering if with this fight being as close to home as you can get at this point, if there's a little bit more buzz around it from some of your friends at home, if you noticed that the East Coast is a little bit more into it because it's as close as you can get to your home state at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of have that feeling that I had when I was going to fight Shogun. I was just extremely mobile and dedicated. My weight right now, I'm like 216 because I'm training all the time. And after I eat, I go work out right after to burn the calories off. There's like a fire that I have to compete well up in that arena. My friends are not going to be there front row. And a lot of people who can't afford to go will be able to drive down and get in that arena this time. So yeah, I have not pressure, but I have an eagerness to compete at a really high level. A lot of people say, I want the Jon Jones that fought against Shogun to come back. And I'll be in the same arena, so I'll try to put that same energy and effort into just attacking and being aggressive and being smarter and competing clean and nice and dominant.
Thanks, Jon.
That does conclude our question and answer session. I would now like to turn the conference back over to Steve Keogh for additional or closing remarks.
Thanks, Amber, and I want to thank all the fighters and media for joining the call today. Before leaving you, I just want to quickly review Fight Week schedule and remind you that full details are available on UFC.com. Wednesday, April 24th, we'll see 2 events take place in Manhattan. First, we have the Metro PCS UFC Herald Square Takeover all day from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This event is free and open to the public, and it'll feature Q&A sessions, appearances, UFC demonstrations with interactive workouts, and much, much more. Also, Fight Week will also mark the opening of the first UFC gym location in Manhattan. Full details are on UFC.com, as I mentioned. There will be a UFC VIP party at this gym on April 24th and free classes on April 25th. Thursday, April 25th, we'll see the UFC Ultimate Media Day availabilities take place at the Madison Square Gardens Theater lobby starting at 11 a.m. Attending will be the 4 fighters from today's call, as well as Roy Nelson and Czech Congo. This event will be closed to the public. Friday, of course, we'll see the weigh-ins, and these will take place at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific from the AmeriHealth Pavilion at the Prudential Center. The event is open to the public and will be preceded by the Fight Club Q&A at 2 p.m. Eastern featuring UFC middleweight contender Chris Weidman. I want to thank everyone again for participating, and we'll see you later this week.
And those weigh-ins will be aired live on Fuel TV.
Thanks, Chael. They will. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That does conclude our conference. You may now disconnect.